we're going to be going over Clefairy, and her stat block. Um, don't worry, Cleffa does have a stat block, but we haven't come across her in the Pokedex yet. We're not going by national Pokedex order, we're going by actual regular Pokedex order, so we're going over the Kanto Pokemon first, but I don't need to explain it. Anyway, Clefairy is a small phase, CR4. Armor class is 13 because, I mean, if you look at her stats here, defenses are pretty good, but like they're not amazing or anything. Hit points is 85 because hit points is actually her highest stat, so naturally quite high. Strength is 8 because low attack, and Dex is even lower because her lowest stat is speed, which is the equivalent of dexterity. Kona's highest. Her highest stat is actually charisma because, I mean, she's got an ability called Cute Charm, and the Pokedex describes her as being adorable. And like, there's nothing more charismatic than being visually appealing. So yeah, canonically. Wisdom's high too because, like, it's a fairy, and little fact for you, little hidden thing, Clefairy is probably an alien. It's, at least there's multiple Pokedex entries. Now, regarding Pokemon that are aliens, unless it's like Deoxys, where it's like very explicitly Deoxys is an alien. He came from outer space. Not many Pokedex entries actually say this Pokemon is an alien. They'll like say there are rumors that they're an alien, and Clefairy is one of those Pokemon. So she's vulnerable to being poisoned, resistant to necrotic. She cannot be charmed because all fairy types for me cannot be charmed, because something I associate a lot with fairy types is love magic, like Attract. I know Attract isn't a fairy type move, and most Pokemon can learn it, because, little fact for you guys, my, at least, opinion, I think that all Pokemon can learn Attract, because what Game Freak were trying to say is that, cuteness is just like, it's like art, it's subjective, so any Pokemon can learn it. But if you look in the anime, the type of Pokemon that use Attract the most is usually fairy types. So yeah. Anyway, speaking of infatuation, Cute Charm is her other passive ability. If a creature makes contact with Clefairy or hits it with a melee attack, they must succeed a DC 12 Wisdom saving throw or be charmed by Clefairy for 1 round. Now you might notice that she's got 2 other abilities that aren't here, being Magic Guard and Friend Guard. Friend Guard, I've actually already tried to implement it in one of my things. It's a fucking nightmare to implement, because there's like, you're trying to be creative with it, but you're just like, okay, how the fuck is that gonna go down? But I just didn't include it. And Magic Guard, the Pokemon only takes damage from attacks. So instead of that, I just thought I'd give it the immunity to being poisoned. Because, well, this is a really weird reference, and I'm pretty sure it's for a wholly valid reason. I think Clefable has magic powers, but there's this one anime episode from Pokemon Sun and Moon where there's a Clefable and she can't be poisoned. So I thought I'd kind of reference that, and I don't quite... Oh, Necrotic, because Necrotic is Dark type. And Fairy attacks are magical because that's how this works. Now, she has 1 action, which technically has 6. Metronome. Clefairy wiggles its fingers and its body glows. Roll a 1d6 and consult the table below. It's a little rhyme for you. The rhyme was not intended, by the way. I've only just noticed that. Now, first of all, we have Spiderweb. All of these moves were randomly selected Pokemon attacks, using a random number generator that I randomly pulled up and decided to give this Pokemon. Do all the Spiderweb, plus 5 to hit, 1 hit, the target is restrained by webbing. As an action, the restrained target can make a DC 14 strength check, but bursting the web on a success. The webbing can also be attacked and destroyed. It's basically just the giant spider's web attack, but I think this one might be a little bit more powerful. We have probably her strongest metronome. By the way, you actually have to roll. Unlike with some D&D customization things, you actually have to roll the table and get a random result. So you can't just choose last resort every time. Clefairy closes its eyes and a massive, overwhelming blast of magic is released from it in a 30-foot radius. Any creature in range must succeed a DC 13 dexterity saving throw, or take 66 force damage, or half as much on a success. That's quite a lot of damage. Then we have Light Screen. Clefairy raises its finger, raising a mystical barrier around itself, giving advantage on all saving throws for 1 minute. So that's pretty useful. We have Jaw Lock, which is, I believe it's a signature move of different Pokemon. And you can fully imagine what Clefairy would look like using this move. Sure, I think it's a weird mental image. Got +4 to hit, reach 5 feet. On a hit, it does 2d10 bludgeoning damage. Creature hit by this attack is grappled and restrained by Clefairy, escape DC 13. Then we have Pin Missile. Clefairy points in the direction of its choice, and a barrage of pins is released in a 40-foot cone. Any creature in range must succeed a DC 12 dexterity saving throw, or take 64 piercing damage, or half as much on a success. And then we have Strength. +4 to hit, reach 5 feet, 1 target, 2d10 bludgeoning damage. Creature hit by this attack must succeed DC 13 strength saving throw, or be awful prone. So a lot of these moves don't work exactly like they do in the games. Like, sure, Spiderweb lowers speed, but in this, it restrained, which is pretty similar. Last Resort is actually, in the games, you have to use all of your other moves to be able to use Last Resort. But in this situation, I just thought, well, Last Resort sounds very powerful, and in the games it's a physical attack, but why not make it a magic one instead? Light Screen is pretty similar to what it does in the games. Jaw Lock, I tried to do my best. Pin Missile is pretty much identical. And Strength has the added effect of making them maybe full prone. Yeah, that's the general stat block. This is probably my longest video that I've done on this. But, you know, it's an interesting one. We've got all these options, and the next one might be even longer, because Clefable is next, and Clefable has even more options for Metronome. We'll go into that next time.